am so excited to speak with Dominika. Dominika, hi, honey.
Hi, love. How are you,
I
beautiful?
am doing amazing. So, Dominika is a sustainable performance coach. She's a TEDx speaker, and she so beautifully bridges neuroscience with leadership and high performance. And that I want to go a bit deeper with her on that because there are a lot of obstacles standing in the way between us and our goals. And I want to share a couple tools with you that is inspired by her. Dominica, would you like to just introduce yourself very briefly?
Oh, goodness. You did it so well that I don't know if I can add anything.
Oh, yes, you did. You can. You're
Well,
amazing.
I absolutely love neuroscience in a practical way. So, my gift is to take complex things and make them simple and usable and practical. I take what was used to be available only to the top 0.1% of people and athletes and Olympians, and I bring it to us regular humans that we can optimize and change our brain. See, what we forget is that neuroplasticity that we talk about so much that your brain can change, it goes
Mhm.
both ways. So it can change for the better, but it can change for the worse.
Absolutely.
And until we start taking charge of our brain, which dictates how you feel, how you think, what you do, and we actually work with the organ as an organ, we are unable really to make permanent changes. And I truly believe that in the future, no scientific discovery, no psychologist, no therapist, no coach will be able to move forward without neuroscience. And it's growing exponentially.
I am
So
obsessed with
that's what I
neuroscience.
do. And I
I am
absolutely
obsessed with neuroscience because you've written a book on high performance. I have written a book on high performance, and I tell you, while I was reading it, I could literally feel the changes in me. While I was researching, I was implementing in that. I felt it. I experienced it. Can you relate?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And it's so simple, yet so challenging because, we talk about the programming, and it is basically the number of signals and information that is repetitive that goes into our nervous system that becomes a default behavior.
Oh,
And now we can separate your thoughts, we can separate where your memory lives for long and emotional things, we can separate feelings from events. And you can, for example, after trauma, have a situation where you remember the traumatic event, but it doesn't do anything to you. You talk about it like we're talking it now, there's no emotional charge. And the opportunities are endless for women, for men, for teenagers, for self-regulation, which whatever you call your happiness, question is, have you ever designed your happiness, right? Because do you
mhm.
know what would be happy for you? You can design it and live most of the time in that area. And there's a very big difference between happiness in the brain and euphoric feeling. Euphoria is a temporary thing. The joy, the exponential joy where we're jumping up and down, that is not sustainable.
No, that's
But
not.
true happiness that is mixed with gratitude, that literally rewires your brain, that's absolutely doable. Imagine waking up most of your days
Yes.
smiling.
I love that. I love that. And that one doesn't go away despite life's challenges.
Yes.
That one is being grateful even when things don't go your way all the time. We
Oh, and they
expect
won't.
it, we expect it,
Yeah.
but how many things in life are in our control? And we want to control everything, don't we? So what is standing in our way? I want to just hear from you. A couple
Mhm.
tips you can share. Where do we even begin? I know we have this early programming. Oh my gosh, I am like 100% programming. I wasn't good enough and I was just a girl. I was, not capable. And that just really ruined early on my self esteem, my belief in me. Where do I even begin?
Well, we're going to start with the fact that you didn't ruin anything because you have no control over it. This was the environment you were in, and your nervous system was just learning and taking it in whatever it heard. So
Mm,
it's not you. One of the things that is so important in neuroscience and in this approach is that who you are, unless you decide to make a difference and change and work on it, It is really not up to you until you discover that you have control over it.
Mhm.
Because people who are surrounded, you were surrounded by when you were a kid, that wasn't your choice. School you went to wasn't your choice. Their beliefs wasn't your choice. It was where you were. So taking responsibility for that gives you no hope or no joy, and you feel guilty from the get-go. So let's leave
Mhm.
that guilt behind and say, that wasn't me, but now I'm choosing differently. And
Yes.
I want to design my brain. I want to react the way I want to react. And because I don't think we want to talk about trauma today and how to manage that, one thing we can start doing is called mental rehearsal. That is a very, very specific practice.
Mental rehearsal, like
Yes.
imagination.
But it's not only imagination, it is feeling to the point where you're actually vibrating with the feeling. It is smelling the smell that you're going to connect that to, because smell is the only thing that bypasses your nervous system and goes straight into limbic system. So we can,
Really?
yes.
Wow. I Thanks for sharing that. I
So
have
we
my beautiful scent in the background. That's like
can,
my anchor.
yes, and if it's not a scent that's everywhere, it's gonna work. It has to be a very specific smell that it's not repetitive, because then it's gonna not gonna have its power. Second of all, you have to be sitting, imagining, feeling, and guess what? About 70% of people can imagine, but the other 30 have no ability to imagine visuals in their head.
Wow.
So for those people, we're working with taste, we're working with sensory like touch, we're working with breath, we're working with smell and hearing, so they can really anchor those things. So we need to know what type of brain you have. And it's very normal
Mm.
if you cannot imagine things. And
No, I
is
didn't know
aphasia.
that.
Some people see colors in full. Some people just see, faded colors. Some people see shapes, and some people don't see anything at all. I see shapes when I imagine things, but I'm assuming it's because I haven't practiced enough, because when I dream in full color, which means my brain is able to produce images without it. So that would be the first thing, mental rehearsal. And that is something you practice. I don't know if you know, but pilots for F-16, 80% of their practice is on the ground with mental rehearsal. They're not flying anything, they're imagining they're flying. It
Wow.
becomes an automatic behavior, automatic reaction time that is practice. And you can
Yes.
practice things like this in your life.
Because it
It's
builds
not.
the neural circuits already ahead of time before the action. That's amazing.
So
So,
when that thing happens, you automatically react the way you designed, not the way you were designed. And that's the big difference.
mm, nice. So, for our listeners and viewers, but just before the show started, I was actually picking on her brain how she managed to have this amazing TED talk, because it's in my bucket list. Put in your calendar next year. Yes, Nev is going to do a TED talk. I'm announcing it, and mental rehearsal was probably a big part of it, Dominica.
Oh, absolutely. Mental rehearsal is huge, especially walking on stage and
Mhm.
imagining the final outcome. Not the fact of me talking, but the final outcome, how it's going to be. And that was so important. To tell you the truth, without the exercises that I know, for me, it was such a big deal that I had to pull myself together. I had to do breathing exercises. I had to center myself. I had to ground myself. But that mental rehearsal for weeks on end, imagining the outcome, was the key that gave me really even more confidence, because I usually don't do 100% memorized talks. And this TEDx was 100% memorized.
Is
I was a
all of them are. All of them are.
That's right. And there are some people who don't and they choose not to go that way. But I believe that for me, why the female brain is built for leadership, that's the name of the talk. It is so important to open the conversation how female brains are built differently. They are. We have some areas of our brain that have more blood flow, more oxygenation. Our brains develop at a different speed. Intuition is a brain system. It's not a woo woo thing like people say, oh, yeah, you're just feeling things. No, no, no. It is literal. It's using mirror neurons and other structures in your brain that allow you to feel things that are not material. So there are so many aspects of a
Mhm.
female brain that we kind of not been told. And I truly wanted to inspire women and also men to see how much benefit they would get if they would hire more women.
Mhm.
So that was my vision for my TEDx.
I love it. I love it. And one of the things I don't like is the unknown, but the growth is in the unknown, the uncertainty. So, how do you calm your mind when there's so much unknown all around you and your body goes into this protection mode and shrinks? What do you do?
That is a beautiful question. So for me and my technique is curiosity, because curiosity allows for options. And when I
Mm,
have options, they stop being unknown. I just don't know
mm,
which option, but I know all or most of the options that might happen. And when I say I'm curious what's going to happen next, assuming that I'm in a safe place and it's not somebody running after me with a knife, it allows me to go into thinking and different parts of the brain get engaged. Another thing
mm.
that I do is that I've trained myself that I enjoy uncertainty until the point where it's unsafe. So I do have a cutoff point where uncertainty doesn't feel good. And that is when I'm lacking safety.
Yeah. Yeah.
And lack of safety, I just allow myself to feel unsafe, because then I will. I don't know if you know what happens, but when you go into unsafe mode, your vision narrows and you see only things in front of you, and your goal is to get out of that situation, which is a healthy thing. Most people don't realize that anxiety is a good thing. Anxiety should not be something that we don't like, only when it
Yes.
overtakes your life. That's not a good
Absolutely.
thing. But
Yes.
anxiety is a good thing. And it allows you, and what's even more interesting, it's on the same brain circuit as excitement and anticipation.
Mm-hmm.
So the only difference with that is that in anxiety, you're assuming negative outcome. So imagine you're going to your grandma's. And for years, you've been going to your grandma's and she was making your favorite meal. It was so amazing. And you just think about it, you have your
Yeah.
salivating, go, oh my God, I'm so
Yes. I'm
excited.
drooling. Oh, my
You're
mom.
truly. And then that happens, you have your favorite meal. The next day, there's no more anticipation for the favorite meal because you got it. But you're assuming the unknown that it's going to be a positive outcome and she's going to make it. With anxiety, is the same thing. I am so excited, but I think it's not going to go well. So we attach the negative outcome, and that's where
Yes.
anxiety comes from.
It's very same. It's processing the very same brain circuits, just changing one simple language from I am scared to I am excited.
But there's even simpler thing. If you check your blood work, because with neuroscience coaching and work, we look at your blood work as well.
You
If
do?
yes, we do.
Wow, I did not know that.
If you don't produce neurotransmitters, we cannot rewire your brain. Enough of them, right? You always produce them, but we need an amount that is healthy for the brain. So if you're low on D3, omega 3s, iron, ferritin, or magnesium, you are prone to experience much more anxiety and depressive states than if those are in the optimum level that is not the same as in the norm.
Wow, I'm very impressed that you look at blood work. So if I want to work with you, you would ask for my blood work.
I would. And I
Ah,
would hope that you trust me enough and we look at 10 things in your blood work, because your brain requires certain levels. They might be in the norm, but they're not optimal. Forgetting things in menopause and in perimenopause is normal, but it's not optimum. Having problems walking at 90, it is normal, but it's not optimal. And we can prevent that or prolong that from happening or not happening at all.
mhm.
Um, I work a lot with women who are going through perimenopause and menopause. And can you imagine not having almost any symptoms? Because that's how I went through it. My symptoms are itchy ears and once in a while heart palpitation. I don't know what is a hot flash. I don't know what's a night sweat. And it's because I took care of my brain and my health.
Mm.
Now, is there still work to do? Absolutely. But let's target things that are easy, simple to fix. And then if that doesn't work, we're going to go to more complex things. And that's the approach with brain health approach and brain coaching. We look at, we take the simplest things at the beginning and we see if they work. And if that doesn't work, okay, we're going to go to more complex and then more complex. And if all those things that we've tried, we know scientifically are proven to work, didn't work, that's when we're going to go, okay, time for a psychiatrist and for medication.
Wow, it supplements
Yes,
just optimize your brain health. Thank you for that reminder. While I was listening to you, you really reminded me how important it is for every one of us to have mentors, coaches, because we don't know what we don't know. We all want to have a great life and accomplish great things, and we want to be happy. We want to have sustainable happiness, right? Not just that is fleeting. How important to it is to have somebody that is holding your hand, that is guiding you with safety in
absolutely.
the direction that you want to go to. And Dominica, the reason I'm mentioning this to our listeners is because I had the privilege of having Dominica as my coach during a Tony Robbins event that lasted for like 6 days. And when you dig that deep, there is going to be a lot of confusion. But I think that confusion is so necessary for you to get more clarity in your life. And Dominica was my mentor, holding my hand and guiding me, literally structuring my life on paper.
Oh my goodness. I knew we connected, but I had no idea that, it was such an impact. And I'm so grateful I had the privilege to work with you. Um, you reminded me so much of me from the past. It was incredible.
Oh, really? Like this confusion. You just want answers, and you just don't know what you don't know. And then you have these amazing coaches that has just been there, done that can show you. That's kind of like a shortcut. That's what a mentor does. You don't want to waste 50 years of your life to get like 10 steps ahead in life. Somebody can show you the way.
Absolutely. And if you're willing to listen and at least try and then maybe adjust it to you, it's just shortens the path, makes life easier, and
Mhm.
that becomes your support system. And I have my coach that I work with, and I love people who know more than I do in areas that I have no clue about. And I on purpose put myself in situations where I'm the literally the stupidest person in the room and everything is new and it's so uncomfortable. It is so uncomfortable, but it's so enlightening because when I go past that discomfort, I start listening. And when I start listening, my brain starts to connect things and go, this could work. This could, oh, this is a different approach. What if I do this? And we start to develop. And creativity, most people are not say they're not very creative, which is not true, but I love creativity because we keep saying we cannot procrastinate. Well, guess what? For in brain science and neuroscience, it is required to procrastinate.
Really?
There's
That's the
yes,
first time I hear this.
I
Everybody
know
is just criticizing the heck out of the procrastination. It's
it
so
is the
bad.
most beautiful thing. Now, there's a procrastination curve where it becomes destructive, but there is a period of procrastination that's required boredom and not doing anything
Yes, that
for
I
your
agree
brain.
with. That I agree with. Keeping space. The boredom is the space for your brain to actually rest.
Yes.
And that's where you get creative, right?
Yes, but and that goes into procrastination. And before it peaks to be dangerous, it becomes the best place for you to have control over what your brain pulls out. We had this amazing conversation with this gentleman who totally disagreed with me, and that's why it was amazing. And he believes that we are so special because we can create. Well, the truth is, we create only from things that we've been exposed to. And I want you to remember this, whoever's listening to this. You cannot imagine a thing unless you've seen it before in some shape or form. So, for example, if people seen birds, we have planes. When you have an iron, somebody's seen that when a hot rock fell, something was flat and went, that flat, what could I do to make this even out? And everything we create is based on our experiences. So the more you experience that are of unusual things for you in environments that are not yours, the more creative power you have. And
Mhm.
that is just something absolutely amazing. There's studies showing that if you want to advance your company even more, take somebody from outside your industry and put them in because they don't know how it's done. They will bring their ideas and they will adapt it to you. And you'll have that competitive advantage. For us women, creativity is the key. I mean, I don't know how about you, but when my kids were small, I had to be very creative about feeding them vegetables.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I remember those days. I totally agree that, especially that we need to just keep ourselves the time and the space to get bored. But nobody ever does that anymore. The second that people feel bored, they hold their phone in the hand looking for some entertainment and distraction, thinking
And that
they're
is
doing
killing
something
your
good,
that is
right?
killing your brain. That's
That
dopamine addiction at its finest.
yeah.
And I don't know if you know this, but we have something as a reservoir of energy, and it's a decision reservoir. So your brain has only a certain amount of decisions it's able to make a day. If you deplete it on scrolling and useless things,
Mm-hmm.
you'll come home, and that happens to so many people. I remember me being that for many years. I would come home and I couldn't decide what do I want for dinner.
The decision fatigue.
There you go. But there is a limit to the number of decisions. So one
Mhm.
of the ways you can prevent that from happening, besides going outside, and there's a whole bunch of studies on that, it is to have decisions that are on two sides, A and B, never ABC or ABCD. Just have bilateral decision, black or white. Okay, I chose white. Okay, then I'm gonna take yellow. Yellow or white. Okay, I'm gonna take yellow. Okay, yellow or red. And what happens is your brain is not processing. The same with drinking alcohol, smoking. Do not say, I'm just gonna have one drink or few drinks. Just say, I'm drinking, I'm not drinking. It allows your brain to rest and use that power for other things that you need in life, which prevents burnout. Very simple thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's not simple to do unless you learn how to do it. But the bilateral decision making is one of the key things we teach entrepreneurs and CEOs and everybody who needs to make a lot of decisions not to burn through that decision reservoir of energy.
Oh yeah, I love that. I totally agree. And I had actually used that research in my book, The Decision Fatigue. And who was that? I think it was Mark Zuckerberg, if I'm not wrong, that
There's
is
so
wearing that is wearing the same shirt. He has like dozens of the same shirts, so he does not have to think every single day what he's gonna wear. Can you imagine how much energy we're burning just by deciding what we're gonna wear, especially us
He
women?
did a video on that, and there are three women. I don't remember their names, but three very high profile women that have five sets of clothes, and that's it, and that's all they wear. All
Really?
yes. And they use the clothes are not what's making them or breaking them. It is the creativity and other things that they create because they don't care. They're all nicely put together, but it's the same thing over and over. The diversity, the need for variety shows up in other ways, which are much more
Hmm.
beneficial to them in the long run.
I admire the the heart out of it. That is beautiful. I could not do that I could not do that. I love my wardrobe. I love my clothes, and that makes me happy. So, because Dominica, happiness is like my jam. I'd love to hear what makes you happy. What does happiness mean to you?
My favorite question. So
Really?
happiness, yeah, because my definition of happiness is having about 80% of my day when I have a reason to smile. And there's a reason why 80%, because if I expect 100%, I'm going to fail every time, right? So we
Yes.
need to make that expectation reasonable. But
Yes.
my vision board that I have right in front of me here, my friends, people, when somebody calls me, one of the things I practice is actually a weird type of present. So when you give me a compliment, I will take a deep breath, let it out, look you deep in the eyes, and I'll go, thank you so much for saying that.
That's beautiful.
That allows that person to also be happy that they have been heard and noticed. So that's one thing. Every time I achieve anything, so I use Tony Robbins rules, right, for that. And anytime I smile, anytime somebody smiles at me, happiness is very simple to achieve. But for me, it's even more, it's the content of life.
Hmm.
So that encompasses much more. It's not only I can be joyful and happy without jumping up and down. I can just enjoy. I love my morning coffee outside looking at the sky. It is
Oh, yes, I love that.
absolutely favorite thing.
Yes, me too.
I enjoy feeding people who are around me and cooking for them. I absolutely love spontaneity. So I was so excited. We were sitting at Christmas Eve table, and my daughter is one of them is in Poland, one is here with me, and we're like, it's Christmas. Yes, it's nice. Yes, there's a Christmas tree. Yes, there are presents. Yes, we're eating, and yes, the other daughter, is missing. She's there. I was just sitting there. I'm like, what if we would go? And my dad goes, go where? I'm like, go now. But go where? I'm like, to Poland to see your sister, my daughter. So, but I'm like, let me check. So I went, checked online, and the prices were crazy because it was Christmas Eve, right? And I'm like, let me just look a little bit more. And then this ticket popped up. And I'm like, there are two tickets. I purchased in that moment. So my daughter's looking at me going like, are you crazy? I'm like, well, tell your boss you're going to be gone till the 8th. Where am I going? We're going to Poland. When? I'm like, tomorrow at 4 pack.
Oh, I love surprises. I
And
love it.
then
It's meant to be.
you should have seen her face when she saw us knocking at the door. It was priceless. It was beautiful. So if you're talking, doing things like this for people that I care about, I've
Yeah.
done it for my ex-husband. I've done it for people I was with. It gives me so much joy that I get to do things like this. And
Oh, that is so good. I love
so
surprises. So you flew to Poland with your daughter to surprise the other daughter, the
we
twin
have no clue.
sister, and you knocked at the door, and
Yeah,
she had no idea you guys were
no,
coming.
no.
Oh my
And
gosh,
what
I
was
want
even
to be that
better,
person.
we made her favorite salad here in America, and I went through TSA with the favorite salad. I flew with it to Poland, and when we rang the doorbell, we put the salad on the um like on the step before the house, right in the veranda. And she opens the door and she's like, we can hear her, we're hiding. She's like, this is weird. Like, why would somebody leave a salad? And then she, peeks out to see maybe somebody left, to say thank you or whatever was her reasoning. And she saw both of us.
Oh my gosh.
That's what life is made of.
You are an angel, Dominika. I love that. I love surprises. Only the surprises I like, right? That's what Tony Robbins told you like only the surprises that you like. What about the other side? I don't like the other side, but it's part of life. So how do you handle challenges when they come your way? Because many people, fall into depression, anxiety, and how when things don't go our way. Um, what is your strategy?
Well, it's continuous improvement of the strategy. I would say that for me, when challenges come my way, I just learned that it wasn't meant to be. It's
Mm.
dismissing it. That's number one. If it's too many challenges, then I have my support system, my coach, and my friends. I need to call. And I learned to say when things are going wrong. I don't go, oh, it's kind of not comfortable. No, I say how it is. I name things as they are. And another thing that I do is that I've learned also through, what I do is that every emotion lasts 90 seconds unless you feed it.
Uh-huh. Yes, yes, we feed it,
So
but keep thinking about it. Yeah.
exactly. So I do my best not to feed it. Now, if it's super bad and me being a woman, I give myself permission to be miserable.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a time limit. It used to be no time limit. My time limit is 24 hours. And I go under a blanket. I cry. I eat. I go for a walk. I sing. I dance. And I do everything I need to do to be miserable. I don't talk to people.
And then the pity party is over after 24 hours.
It
I
is.
love it. I love
I
it.
have my pity parties and I enjoy them thoroughly because at the same time, every emotion is information.
Mm,
It's not experiencing the other side deprives you of the variety of life.
hmm. Yeah, that is very beautifully said. Do you trust your intuition?
Oh, absolutely.
Do you believe that women have a stronger intuition than men?
I don't need to believe it. I know that science proves it. And I talk about
Really?
my TEDx talk.
We have
Yes.
this gut instinct that's much stronger than the guys.
So it's not even gut instinct. The parahippocampal gyri and a few other structures in your brain are responsible for picking up information from the environment that then are connecting to informational system from your memories and emotional storage, and you're able to predict patterns better than men, according to science. And that's where it comes from. But because we were never taught about the brain, how the brain works, how are we, picking up on things, it was always dismissed as woo. Oh, you're just being emotional. Oh, you're just thinking. Oh, what do you know? You need data. Well, the world is giving you data constantly. And if you learn how to tune in and trust it, you will have phenomenal outcomes based on your intuition. There is a caveat though. If you're in a highly emotional event, highly stressed, somebody died, the world collapsed, whatever that might be, your intuition will be skewed, and it's not recommended until you calm down your nervous system to use it back again.
Wow, that was very powerful. So trust your intuition more.
Absolutely. Do you
So
trust your
the
intuition?
your mind can think, but your heart knows, and the heart is linked to the guts
I
and
think
the
all of this is
intuition.
like three brains. Your heart has neurons, your brain has neurons, your gut produces neurotransmitters, and they constantly, all
They
three of them,
all
communicate
communicate,
with one
interact with each
system.
other. I
And
love it.
did you ever have butterflies when you were in love?
Yes, I was thinking every time I didn't think about my gut feeling. In hindsight, I always was thinking I should have. I should have listened to my gut feeling, and I didn't at that moment. And I'm never wrong when I follow my guts because it knows.
Yeah, it knows. And funny enough, the butterflies we talk about are so emotions are actually feelings of the past projected into the future,
Hmm.
because your body remembers, your memory remembers certain events, certain situation, and that is connected to a chemical release that creates a feeling. Now, that event is not resolved yet. You don't have the outcome yet, but you already are feeling what happened in the past, you feel it in the present, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
And one of the things we've learned is that you never want to be crazy in love. You don't want to have butterflies, because
I
we've
know
learned
your brain shuts down. You stop thinking.
you want to be calmly in love with no butterflies, because butterflies are a biological response to anxiety and fear.
Butterflies are linked to anxiety and fear.
When you don't know if he's going to call and you're all excited
Uh-huh.
and everything's going, that is a past experience of somebody ghosting you and everything else. So if somebody's creating those feelings, you might want to look at that person again. You want to be
Mm.
sure and certain that he's calling. You want to be sure and certain that life is great. You want to know that he's going to show up. Anytime that feeling shows up, it is something that it is given off. Now, again, if you're after trauma, you have not worked with your trauma, that intuitive behavior and those things will not work. You need to heal
Mhm.
yourself before you use that tool, because
Mhm.
otherwise it's just going to be all over the place. But there's so many things that we can now pinpoint. Anxiety in women that have husbands, that are working in stressful situations, like firefighters, police officers, people who go to war. They were wondering, what is the reason why those women have such high rate of anxiety and depression? Well, we know now. There has been an experiment, a phenomenal one. They put people on treadmill, and when they were running, they took their sweat vials, they put it aside, and then they took another group of people and threw them out of the plane in suits, and then took their sweat after landing on the ground in vials. They put unsuspected participants of the study into fMRI, which is a machine that measures blood flow and activation in the brain in real time. And they told everybody to smell nice things and imagine that life is great and they're
Mhm.
walking on a meadow, fantastic. And then they gave them a vial. Almost 100% of people who smelled the vial had no reaction for those who were smelling the vial of people on a treadmill. And almost 100% of people who smelled the vial of people who were thrown out of the plane had a fear response. Anxiety responder, amygdala lit up like a Christmas
Yes, it's
tree.
not surprising.
But they didn't know what happened. It was just based on a smell. So you
Mhm,
can experience not your feelings. And that is also important to know that very often we feel things because
mhm.
of smell of a person who's in our proximity that brings those hormones and those feelings in.
Mhm.
And our brain receives and merges. And
Yes.
then you think, I'm anxious. You're not anxious. A person who walked in had that on them.
Ah, yes, yes. And then your brain linked it to a past experience, and all of a sudden you feel anxious. Wow, I love these kind of data. It truly fascinates me. Um, so in happiness, Dominica, we talk about, different happiness is not just one thing. We talk
Yeah.
about different things. We talk about the spiritual well-being, like meditation, finding your meaning and purpose in what you do. You definitely do. And physical well-being, taking care of your body and your health, and intellectual well-being and relational well-being, our relationship and our emotional well-being. So they all complement each other, right? Our wheel of life flows better if we take care of all of them. And that's where I see most of the challenges with the people I speak to, when they feel like their wheel of life is a bit off,
Yeah.
and then you show them all these elements, just your first instinct, which part of your wheel are you not taking care of much? And then it's everybody knows instantly. I was not really, I was like all work, work, do. And that's where people miss out. When you just work, you miss out on family life, you miss out on the joy and being in nature and friends. And have you experienced that with the leaders that you're working with? I know you're doing HR, and you just working in companies and supporting them.
So when I was in HR, I was one of them. I remember coming back home and crying every night because I
Mm,
was so disconnected. And I think for me, when I talk to women and men that I work with and I coach them, is not really the wheels that are the most important, is the rules that they adapted. What does it mean to have that? So most of these people are in all or nothing world. If I don't have, $5 million in a bank by tomorrow, then I'm worthless. So the rules you attach in those wheels seem to be very much off. And they're aware, they do and of course they're off balance. They work more because if I work more, then I'll be able to provide better, which is total BS. Well, providing is not only financial, but it's also emotional. And if you're detached
yeah.
emotionally, there's nothing you can provide because you're not full. Your cup needs to be full for you to support somebody
Yes.
else. So there are a lot of things, but one of the things we zone in is the shoulds and the rules that we've created, and they are so detrimental. They're so ingrained in people that they literally transfer, the same rule can transfer into every circle. So when you can discover one rule that is showing up in every circle, you can solve a lot of issues with just one change, adapting the rule. I
Mhm.
have one gentleman who's my client, a lovely human, and he had this rule about masculinity. And I've suggested maybe he should work with a man, but no, he decided that I'm the person. Okay. So he had this rule that everybody has to like him because if he says no, women and other people will get hurt and he doesn't want to hurt people, which created a whole at work. He was always the yes guy, I'll do it. So he was exhausted. At school, he was always 100% and he was helping everybody, although he had no time for himself. His mom
Mhm.
asked him for help. It was always a yes. And it was yes to everybody because this was the mirror of being liked. And
Mhm.
if they
Yeah.
like you, then that means I'm a good person. But if I
Mhm.
say no, somebody might get hurt. So what happened was even deeper underneath, that person took responsibility for people's reaction. And we cannot take responsibility for how somebody
No. We
receive
can't
from them.
control other people. But I was my a professor, my professor Calvin Shahar. I love him. He actually shared with us a research where people there are two kinds of people that pleases everybody, that's miserable, but also the ones that is doing great is the one that is great, that is pleasing, but also takes time for its own needs. So if you it's nothing wrong with being nice and helping people, but if that's all you want to do and you neglect your own needs,
Yes.
that's where your wheel gets off.
And that influences your work, your partnerships, right? Because the truth is, nobody's going to take care of you unless you take care of yourself first, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then we're able to share and connect and grow together. Um, I think the subject of neuroscience, psychology, Tony Robbins, and everything else is so vast. There's so many different avenues. I've learned one thing, that if one avenue is not bringing me the results I want within 3, 4 months, I look for another one. And I have found that, when I get people who were in therapy for 10 years, I'm like, what in the world happened to you that you needed 10 years of therapy? I am a true believer, and some people disagree with me, that coaching and therapy should be temporary. This is the time of growth. And then you need to reap your success. You need to enjoy the changed you. And when you're ready for more growth, okay, go
I have
back and
to
work on something
kind of
else.
disagree with that. I have to kind of disagree with that, that it's only
Yeah,
temporary. I disagree with that because we keep changing and evolving. We keep changing and we always at a different part and chapters in our life. We need then may need different coaches, a
that's true.
different guidance. So yes, you should take action on what you learned, but you cannot just stop growing and
You can, because we spoke about this. See, there is this fall and winter. That's when you stop growing. That is when you marinate, hibernate, enjoy your fruits of your labor. And this is when you're taking everything you've learned and you're kind of, utilizing this until the new growth comes. We
Mhm.
are in seasons. And when we constantly grow, at one point, it becomes a chore. There's no time for enjoying who you became. There has to be a time where you grow, you adapt the growth, it becomes you, you enjoy it, and it's good for that level. And then when you decide, okay, now this is again mine and few other people who,
Mhm.
believe in the same thing. The constant growth is exhausting. Nothing in nature
The
grows
feeling of
constantly.
chasing, always going for the next thing, I agree with the part where people always feel like behind, especially now with the AI. Everybody's feeling so behind, especially business and companies. And they keep implementing, doing and doing and doing, always feeling like behind. Yes, you will always gonna be behind. There's always gonna be people ahead of you. But you gotta be okay with that. You have to be okay with that, right?
And that is the time where you in fall and winter. And we keep forgetting in personal growth environments about fall and winter. It's not only in your business where there's a cycle, there's also a cycle in your personal development.
I love that. Thank you for that reminder. And that is perhaps a time where you pay attention, look over your other elements of your happiness and see where it needs a little bit more TLC.
Yeah. And this is the time when you do, go, oh, I've learned this, but I'm not using this. Oh, I'm good with this. Oh, maybe I want to go that way. But it takes time. If you're constantly developing, you never have really time to. So I told you that before we went live. My coach, um, and I am grateful to him. It saved me a lot of money, and my growth is much quicker and much more sustainable. And I'm very much into sustainable growth and development. When I read a book, I have a rule for myself, and I teach my coachees that too. Take 3 things from the book, you implement it, you make it yours. But implementation takes 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months. It doesn't
Mm-hmm.
take one day. It has to become your automatic behavior. It has to become your
You
habit.
gotta do
It
it
has to be a
daily.
part of you. And when that happens, I go, okay, time for next training, next book, because I've noticed that in the past I would read, 50 books a year, 15, and I really couldn't recall. And if I looked at my growth, It was extremely slow. I had all this knowledge. I was so smart, and I did the same things over and over. So
Mm.
there is a balance, and there is a way, not even balance, there's a harmony in growth. And using all those parts, which is the winter and the fall and the spring and the summer,
Mhm.
is so important for you to be functioning as a sustainable human, and sometimes just enjoy who you became. Give
Yes.
yourself the grace for going, I'm pretty freaking awesome.
I am pretty freaking awesome. I love that. Thank you. You are awesome. You're awesome, Dominika. What stage do you see yourself right
I think
now?
right now I am in different circles, I'm in different stages. So for personal growth, I think I'm in the fall. I'm still learning, but there are some things I'm shedding that are not working for me anymore. I'm transforming, and I'm looking for a better way of doing things, but not taking any courses. Then I am in definitely in the spring with my business again. So that is doing great, and that will take a while before it gets to fall, hopefully. When it comes to spirituality, we're definitely in the spring. I have so many different takes and outlooks with the neuroscience now, with energy work and different things that started connecting for me. So that is definitely spring. I'm exploring that, and I have few people that I'm learning from.
Yeah.
When it comes to my relationships, I think we're in winter. I mean, I have my relationship, I have my tribe, but it's not expanding, it's not growing, it's not exploding. And maybe it's a good thing because I'm becoming a different person. Turning 50 is pretty cool, actually.
Yeah, yes, we are very close. That is beautiful. That is beautiful. Oh my gosh, Dominika, thank you for sharing your wisdom and sprinkling happiness onto us and our viewers. And yeah, life is just one short of one decision away. Maybe that decision is gonna be just relax. Maybe that decision is gonna be take the day off for yourself and not be a people pleaser. But I don't know. Everybody knows in their heart what they need to do to be 1% happier the next day.
And you know what? It's one of the beautiful things about life is that when we learn to name things as they are, not good or bad, just as they are, it relieves us of the responsibility of feeling about it. And that was a big learning I took. And I'm still practicing. I'm not great at it, but I find this so relieving. It is what it is. It's not good and it's not bad. Now I get to decide if I stay ambivalent towards it, or do I maybe have an emotional charge toward it and I go, this is important to me. I want to feel this. It's a constant practice, but
Mhm.
happiness is a practice thing.
Oh,
And
yeah, that's what we
it's
studied. Yes, it is a practice. It
completely
is not luck at
practice.
all.
It's like we practice to be miserable. I always ask people, I'm like, if I would ask you now, do you have a set of events in your life that you can immediately think of when where you messed up? Who has that list? Like the whole room raises their hand, like the whole room. And I go,
Uh-huh.
okay, give me another big list, like as big as that one, list of successes where you can shout out that you're so amazing at it. 5 people, 6 people.
Yep.
And it's not that you don't have that, you just haven't practiced remembering those amazing moments. But
Hmm.
we practice remembering how crappy we felt. And
Yes.
whatever you practice more, the neural pathway from like a thin hair, then it becomes a ribbon, then it's a sidewalk, then it's, a one-way street, two-way street, highway, freeway, and it becomes a default behavior.
Yes, I totally agree. You're right.
Happiness is
We gotta
practice.
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 People want to get a hold of you, Dominica. How do they find you?
You can find me under my first and last name, Dominika Staniewicz, on LinkedIn and Facebook. And you can always find me under Your Brain Coach D.
Your
Your Brain,
brain coach that
no, that Your Brain Coach D.
the
That's
Mhm.
my
Okay.
website. That is my Instagram. That is my company website. And of course, you can just reach out to me anywhere. I'm easily findable if you put Dominika Staniewicz. Not many people with this name in this environment. So
Yes, okay. You've also published a book very
I
recently.
did. I
Can you
did.
show can you show our viewers?
So we have this, but we also have.
Dreaming big. Guys, get your coffee.
Hold up. I'm going to show both because this is our Spanish version.
You got a Spanish version out?
Yes. So we have a English version, The Magic of Dreaming Big, Acting Small, and Achieving Success, and the same thing in Spanish for Spanish speakers.
That is awesome. Congratulations, Dominika. That is so beautiful. So, guys, you guys all know where to find Dominika if you need a mentor, a coach. She is the one. I experienced her and highly, highly recommend. So, thank you again for joining us, Dominika. And I hope to speak to you soon.
Super honored for having me. Thank you for giving your time because that's one thing, we cannot get back. So thank you so much for sharing that time with me.
Absolutely my pleasure, honey. Bye bye.